Starting with an NDTV exclusive, in fact, Dunki flight. This is the word for a dangerous, illegal backdoor route undertaken by many Indians to immigrate to countries like United States and United Kingdom along with Canada. The issue has come to spotlight after a plane carrying suspected victims of human trafficking was rerouted to India while it was on its way to Nicaragua after being detained in France. Now, you've heard about the movie Dunki. My colleague from NDTV, Mohammad Ghazali, brings you a ground report, the real report, not what you saw on the film, of how desperate people from Punjab and Haryana are willing to risk their lives for their foreign dreams.
As these visuals splashed across TV screens, Rahul from Haryana's Kurukshetra district was reminded of his Dunki journey to Libya.
सर जो हमारा एजेंट था सर, उन्होंने सर हमारे को जो है इटली के लिए बोला था, भी मैं आपको इटली भेज दूंगा 12 लाख रुपए में। तो उन्होंने सर मेरे को 8 अप्रैल को मेरे को यहाँ से इंडिया से भेजा जी। सबसे पहले मेरे को भेजा दुबई जी। दुबई में हमें उसका पार्टनर मिला, कमल राणा नाम का है जी। और जी उसके बाद उसके पास राज में 4 से 5 दिन रहने के बाद जी उन्होंने मेरे को भेजा मिस्र में मेरा 24 घंटे का स्टे हुआ जी। और मुझे बोला गया कि आपको आगे लीबिया नाम की कंट्री है, वहां पे आपका 2-3 दिन का स्टे है, फिर वहां से हम आपको डायरेक्ट फ्लाइट के जरिए इटली भेजेंगे।
And this is what Rahul had to do to survive.
सर वो खाना भी नहीं देते थे।
खाना कितने दिन में खाना देते थे क्या?
सर कभी कभी तो मतलब 48 घंटे भी, 24 घंटे में हमें सिर्फ एक ब्रेड होता सर, इतना बड़ा बस ब्रेड। और सर पीने का पानी तो वहां पे है ही नहीं था, टॉयलेट वाला पानी पीते, जो टॉयलेट के अंदर 20 इतना खारा पानी वही पीते थे।
But there are many like Shiv Kumar who have lost their loved ones and are still unaware of their whereabouts. Shiv Kumar sent his son to Portugal after mortgaging his ancestral land, and for the last 7 months he's been running from pillar to post for a clue as to where his son could be. The agent who sent his son to Portugal has been booked in an FIR, but there's still no news of Shiv Kumar's son.
जी पैसा इकट्ठा ऐसा है कि मैंने अपने जो लोन बोलते हैं जिसको बैंक में अपनी ज़मीन गिरवी रख के हमने ने ये पैसा इकट्ठा किया और एजेंट से हमारी बातचीत जो हुई थी 12 लाख रुपए में तय हुई थी जी। आज तक हमें बच्चे के बारे में 8 जून तक हमारी बातचीत होती रही, लेकिन 8 जून के बाद आज तक हमारे बच्चे से कोई बातचीत नहीं हो पाई। लगभग 7 महीने का टाइम गुजरने वाला है।
For many like Malkit from the Kathal district in Haryana, this route was fatal. The family got to know of his death after receiving this viral video. But how does this network of fraudulent agents operate in the region? We approached many travel agents to share the details, but no one was willing to come on camera. Finally, one of them spoke in detail.
ऐसा है कि डोंकी 2 तरह की है। एक तो जंगल की डोंकी है जिसके अंदर पैसे कम लगते हैं, जैसे 30 से 40 लाख रुपए लेते हैं जंगल की डोंकी का, जिसके अंदर क्या होता है कि पहले यहाँ से हम किसी भी कंट्री में उतारेंगे, जैसे लैटिन कंट्रीज में उतारते हैं, या फिर आजकल एक काम चल रहा है टर्की से वीजा लेते हैं हम कोस्टा रिका में उतारा। कोस्टा रिका के बाद धीरे धीरे चलते पनामा से फिर आगे पार करते हुए जगह जगह पे अलग अलग अमाउंट देना पड़ता है। जैसे सबसे पहले टर्की पहुंचे, टर्की में तकरीबन 10 लाख रुपए देने पड़ेंगे। उसके बाद जैसे ये कोस्टा रिका पहुंचते हैं, कोस्टा रिका पहुंचने के बाद इन्हें फिर 10 लाख रुपया देना है। उसके बाद ये जंगल क्रॉस करेंगे, जैसे ही जंगल क्रॉस करते हैं, जंगल क्रॉस करने के बाद ये मैक्सिको बॉर्डर पे पहुंचते हैं, फिर वहां 10 लाख देके उसके बाद फाइनल पेमेंट जो है मैक्सिको एंटर होने के बाद देनी होती है। और जो दूसरी डोंकी है वो है बाय एयर। इसके अंदर क्या होता है, हम किसी भी बड़ी कंट्री का वीजा लेते हैं, जैसे जर्मन का, फ्रांस का, इटली का, शेनेगन का, कहीं का भी वीजा लिया।
Now dozens of Indians are taking to YouTube, Instagram and TikTok to document their migration journeys, offering tips, route suggestions and risk assessments to hop from one country to the other. Especially the tricky forest between Colombia and Panama and the US-Mexico border. After this flight return from France, both Punjab and Haryana have swung into action to track the fake agents. Punjab has constituted an SIT to probe the issue of illegal immigration. Haryana claims it already has one, which has been going after the fraudulent agents.
तो हमने एक एक्ट बनाया है और इस बार की कैबिनेट में वो पास हम पुट अप कर रहे हैं उसको कि जितने भी ट्रैवल एजेंट हैं इनके लिए नियम कायदे बनाए गए हैं और अगर इनके थ्रू कोई भागता है तो कार्रवाई के उसमें प्रावधान भी किए गए हैं.
Most of the young men we spoke to claim that lack of job opportunities back home is the reason why they are compelled to take this illegal or dangerous Dunki route to reach the foreign land. And while the government claims that much is being done to check on these illegal or fraudulent travel agents, it seems that the issue needs to be dealt with iron hand. With Kamal Sen in Kurukshetra, with Ankur in Ambala and Sunil Ravish in Kathal. In Chandigarh, Mohammad Ghazali for NDTV.
Staying with Punjab, in fact, gangster Goldie Barar has been declared a terrorist under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act by the central government. Gangster Goldie Barar was declared a terrorist under the UAPA Act by the union government. And remember, he's the man who has also been accused of many murders, sensational murder of singer Sidhu Moosewala. This is the man who has claimed responsibility. He's part of the Lawrence Bishnoi gang. And the government in its communique said that the reason why he has been, in fact, put in this category is because he has links with Pakistan's notorious spy agency, ISI. Let me very quickly go across to my colleague Mohammad Ghazali, who is joining us with more details on this. Ghazali, now he is a wanted man. What will change after his designation as a terrorist from a gangster?
See, we know that there are many anti-Punjab or anti-India elements who are staying in foreign countries on foreign land. And the government keeps trying to sort of extradite them back to India. It depends upon certain treaties between both the countries of the land where these agents or terrorists are staying up. Time to time, the agencies keep updating their database. They keep negotiating with the countries. And even in the last 6 months, we have heard of many such gangsters come terrorists who have been brought back to India. We know about Pannu from the Six for Justice group. He is also designated as a terrorist. His name has come up in multiple discussions between India and United States, but it has not sort of earned India anything as far as extradition is concerned. Now, what will happen by declaring Mr. Barar as a terrorist will certainly put a check on his affiliates here, because what he is doing back here there in Canada is that he is sort of motivating youths, the ones who are there to look for jobs or studies, and also he is running extortion gangs here in Punjab. So perhaps on paper it looks that he has been declared terrorist, but on ground it will again be the responsibility of the security forces, be it the Punjab police or the BSF, which is manning the border, to check the flow of drugs, weapons and fake currency which has been getting into Indian side from Pakistan through drones. So on paper, he has been declared terrorist. Now it will have to be seen that how government approaches to get him back to India, since he is involved in many anti-India activities as well as anti-Punjab activities.
Thank you, Mohammad Ghazali, for bringing us all those details. Moving on now, in its first space mission of 2024, ISRO has launched successfully the X-ray polarimeter satellite ExpoSat today. The satellite lifted off at 9 a.m. from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota, Andhra Pradesh, after the Chandrayaan-3 and Aditya L1 mission by the Indian Space Agency. This is yet another historic milestone towards space exploration by the country. Using X-ray photons and their polarization, ExpoSat will help study the radiation from near black holes and neutron stars. Though the satellite India becomes the second country in the world after United States to send specialized astronomy observatory of this specialized kind to study the black holes and neutron stars in our galaxy. ExpoSat has been launched by India's trusted rocket based the PSLV and has been placed in its intended orbit. My colleague Palwagla has more.
The new year started with a big bang. The Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, successfully launched the ExpoSat from Sriharikota, and the ExpoSat is a very special satellite for studying black holes and neutron stars. So the new year came with a very good news that the Indian Space Agency successfully launched the ExpoSat into space. The XPOSat is a very specialized satellite which will study black holes, neutron stars. And before this, a similar satellite but of a slightly different nature, and XPOSat is a very complex machine, was launched by America's NASA. So India becomes only the second country to have a polarimetry experimental satellite or an observatory in space. In this time when there is much talk of hat tricks, today the Indian Space Agency or ISRO also played a hat trick. And the hat trick goes something like this. First came the Chandrayaan-3 satellite, which made a successful soft landing nearer the south pole of the moon. And then India launched the Aditya L1 mission to study the sun, which is getting closer to the point where it will have a continuous view of the sun for a long period. And today, the hat trick in the form of the XPOSat being launched in space. So the Indian Space Research Organization doing a celestial or a scientific hat trick of a kind. The XPOSat will help Indian scientists decipher many mysteries and secrets of the universe. The Indian scientific community and the global scientific community is very excited by the use of the data which will come from XPOSat. Startups are equally excited because they get an opportunity to do low cost or no cost experiments on a very tiny, almost like a space station, which is Indian in nature. A wonderful New Year gift by the Indian Space Agency, which continues to mesmerize both India and the world. In New Delhi, Pallav Bagla for NDTV.
Now, ahead of the Grand Temple opening on January 22nd, the town of Ayodhya has gone through a massive facelift. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the new airport and the railway station. There is big infrastructure push by the Uttar Pradesh government as well. A new Ayodhya in the new year. Meanwhile, only a few months left for the general elections 2024. The Prime Minister, in fact, before the consecration ceremony of Ramlala on 22nd January, Uttar Pradesh becomes the big focus. And this is being seen as a huge political opportunity for the Bharatiya Janata Party January 22nd. The biggest opportunity for the political party to ensure that it comes back to power. For Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who came to Ayodhya on December 30th, on one hand, he gave and inaugurated many, in fact, infrastructure projects. On the other, did not miss the opportunity to tap on the crucial vote bank. The political messaging was unmissable.
नमस्ते जी नमस्ते ओहो ऐसा मत कीजिए आप लोग
This Chai Pe Charcha for PM Modi in Ayodhya at the residence of the 10th crore Ujjwala beneficiary Meera Manjhi had a strong messaging for the BJP's politics, Hindutva, development and welfare, and also a more than subtle caste focus.
By laying foundation stone and inaugurating projects worth rupees 15,000 crore, BJP cleared the agenda of development, and after meeting the beneficiary of Ujjwala scheme, Prime Minister tried to woo a big vote bank of the beneficiary class.
The Manjhis, a riverine caste, are referred to as SCs in Uttar Pradesh, but are actually a part of a group of 18 OBC subcastes in the state, whose classification the Adityanath government in Uttar Pradesh wants to change to scheduled castes. The proposed inclusion of these subcastes through a series of government orders between 2016 to 2019 has been struck down by the Allahabad High Court as unconstitutional.
नहीं, किसी को मैंने नहीं दिया है, एक भी रुपया नहीं दिया.
Manjhis and other riverine castes are a big vote bank in many parts of the state, especially eastern Uttar Pradesh.
आज के दिन में एक निषाद राज के वंशजों को मोदी जी गले लगा रहे हैं. पिछली सरकारों ने कितना उपेक्षित रखा, आज मोदी जी गले लगाकर उनको उनके दरवाजे पर जाकर चाय पीना, ये हमारे समाज के लिए गर्व का विषय है.
22 जनवरी 2024 को भगवान श्री रामलला अपने जन्म स्थान पर 500 साल बाद विराजमान होंगे. प्रधानमंत्री माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी के सत्ता में आने के बाद वर्षों का संघर्ष सफल हुआ है.
The Samajwadi Party has hit out at the BJP, calling the PM's visit a photo op and saying the BJP always tries to play the caste and religion card for electoral gains.
देखिए, भारतीय जनता पार्टी आज बेरोजगारी, महंगाई, किसान मजदूर के मोर्चे पर पूरी तरीके से विफल है. किसी पिछड़ी जाति की महिला को आवाज देके वो सोचती है कि जाति जनगणना का मुद्दा पीछे चला जाएगा.
In the upcoming general elections, there is a clear fight between NDA and the India Alliance. And both the alliances are trying to woo voters in their own way. Now, it will be very interesting to see whether the voters will believe BJP's Hindutva and development agenda or they will vote for India. With camera person Rajesh Gupta, Ranveer, NDTV, Lucknow.
Right, a powerful earthquake on the magnitude of 7.5 on the Richter scale hit Japan. In fact, on the first day of the year, there have been tsunami warnings and authorities have urged people in the area to move to higher ground. All residents must evacuate immediately to higher grounds. That was the national broadcaster NHK after the earthquake hit the Noto region in the Ishikawa prefecture. In fact, my colleague Nupu Tupari from Tokyo gets us these details.
7.6 magnitude earthquake in Japan on 1st January 2024. It's not a very good news for entire Japan, definitely. But the way Japan is tackling, managing it, it is very commendable. Taking people to the safe area, making people safe are the most important thing which local government is doing, and most of the people are evacuated. The Shinkansen bullet train is stopped, bullet train is not running, the local trains, they are also not running. Many people who are traveling, mostly tourists, they are stuck at the station and the local government is taking care of them. And everything is kind of in control except tsunami. Tsunami warning is still there, especially Ishikawa area. Ishikawa area is 5 meter of big tsunami warning is there. Other areas not so much, but Ishikawa is the epicenter, and that is the reason that the people are mostly scared there. So what we can do, we can just stay safe. The people from around the world, people from India, please send some positive vibes, some positive prayers, some prayers for Japan, so Japan can manage it really well. Nupur Tiwari from Tokyo.
Meanwhile, in the new year, will India's stock markets extend gains further and touch new highs? Sakshi Bajaj shares highlights of what the brokerages and the analysts are forecasting for the Indian stock market.
If you're wondering whether the upbeat market momentum for India's stock markets will continue in 2024 and just what could be the Sensex scale in 2024, well, brokerages have been upbeat with their best case scenario, with Morgan Stanley forecasting as much as 86,000 for the Sensex. However, NDTV spoke to market experts and they're mapping the uptick in benchmark indices, that is the Nifty and the Sensex, to corporate earnings. They believe corporate earnings growth will remain healthy in 2024 and therefore a 10 to 15% uptick in corporate earnings will boost the benchmark indices by a similar percentage as well. However, some experts feel like in life, when expectations are too high, one faces disappointment, and the same sentiment could be felt by investors, as remember 2023 saw an influx of several new investors who may have unrealistic expectations due to the massive surge witnessed in 2023. With India's general elections this year and geopolitical tensions rising globally, markets may see more volatility in 2024 than in 2023 as per analysts.
Always read those dotted lines before you decide to invest. Now, moving on, a few days ago, you may have seen pictures of a 2-year-old tigress perched on the farmhouse that was from, in fact, Uttar Pradesh's Pilibhit. That was the boundary wall of the Atkona village near Pilibhit in Uttar Pradesh. She remained there for 10 hours till forest officials arrived. Good news is that tigress has now been released in the wild and is healthy.